Well guys, here we are again with another voiceover to kick off the start of this video, because someone can't remember to pick up the camera and record one of the biggest projects we tackled this year. And of course, that's hooking into grid power and rebuilding the well pump. Living out here full time was really pushing the limits of our small off-grid system, and we had to make the decision to either fully commit to off-grid or tie into the grid with the power pole that was already on our property. After weighing the pros and cons to both, we ultimately decided to tie into the grid and plan to become somewhat energy independent in the future. The whole process took about 3 months, most of which was waiting for permit approval and scheduling, and about 2 weeks of construction and trenching. We knew the best location for the main panel would be on the side of a pump house, but that meant building said pump house first. So that's what we've got going on here. A pretty small 6 by 8 foot shed on a concrete foundation. This is the first time we've ever worked with concrete, and I'll have to admit, even with a concrete mixer, I probably wouldn't want to pour a pad much larger than the one here. All in all, we mixed about 50 bags of concrete, and of course, the 40th bag is where we got into a really good rhythm. So I'm hoping our next concrete pour will be quite a bit less stressful. Overall, we're happy with how the pad turned out, so we moved on to framing. It's a pretty basic shed here, 2x4 walls, 6 feet in the back, roughly 8 feet in the front, and just enough space on the inside to house the pressure tank, plumbing, control equipment, and a little extra heated storage. At this point, we were able to shift our focus to trenching, and this took quite a bit longer than we first anticipated. The trench is 180 feet long and 4 feet deep, and while the soil's clean and free of rocks, it was rock solid. We had a combined 25 hours of digging time to open up this trench, so shout out to my neighbor for coming over and helping me with this one. With this section of trenching complete, we installed a short run of conduit to where a pad mount transformer will sit and contacted the power company. They came out a few days later to drop this primary power line, which meant I was free to backfill the trench and begin work on laying water pipe. This trench was always planned to be multi-purpose, and there's more than enough room to satisfy all the spacing requirements between these lines. But the 7,000 volts of electricity coursing through this primary line is more than enough to keep me from digging around looking for water leaks without asking the utility company to turn off the power first. So cross your fingers with me and hope for no water leaks anytime in the near future. At this point, I finally decided to pick up the camera and bring you guys along, so let's see what Past Me had to say. So to get ready for backfilling, we basically installed a 50 amp RV plug here. I can get this open one-handed, which I can't, but sure, opens on its own. We've got PEX water line in the pipe. We've got the 50 amp service. It's a 6-3 cable running from our main panel to this plug, and then as you can kind of see, we also have a frost free spigot here, and you can see some of the water line sitting in there. It is PEX, so you're not supposed to keep it in any direct sunlight, so I'm just gonna kind of cover it up an inch or two right now because it's getting dark, and then we'll finish wrapping up this project tomorrow. The only spots in the trench that we'll have to leave open are way back here in the corner, and that is because we're gonna trench another 2 feet or so, put in another frost-free hydrant, and then over here we will have to actually drop in another trench as well, tie in to the water line that will come out from here. So this is where the well is, gonna go right to the well shed, come out of the well shed, tie into this trench, but the power company is gonna drop a transformer right there, so we don't wanna have any stuff underneath that. So that's the plan, and We will see how far we get tomorrow. I'm hoping to have pretty much the entire trench wrapped up, maybe even that corner if I can get that frost-free hydrant installed, and then, well, trenched and then installed. And then we're looking pretty good. The power company is supposed to be out here on Monday and pull the secondary cable through to our panel and then give us a meter. So pretty excited for that. We think we're gonna see single digits tonight. So we're running on a generator and propane right now. So it's pretty tough to keep the RV heated all night. So we are excited to tie into the grid. It just makes it a little bit easier. So until tomorrow. Morning guys, we are back working on the trench today and we have about 4 feet to go. These 2 frost-free hydrants are the last piece to this project before I can completely backfill the whole thing. So we will fire up the tractor and finish off this piece right here, just coming out away from the primary line, which is buried 4 feet there. Gonna put a hydrant here and then over here by the power pole we're gonna go off a little ways so that we're not interfering there, and we're gonna put a hydrant there, which is probably unnecessary, but just in case we ever want to cross the road with water, it's sort of already here and we can trench across the road. So that's the idea. So shouldn't take too long. All right guys, so we're putting together the frost-free spigot, and basically I've got 1-inch PEX in the ground as well as 3/4 PEX. 1 inch for like a trunk line, and then we'll branch off of that in case we ever need any extra space. But right now I'm just gonna make a quick T to transition to the 3/4, and then I also need to make the elbow for the frost-free spigot. So yep, that should work just fine. Basically, we're gonna branch off of the trunk. This is 1 inch, and then it just dips down to 3/4. So we'll let that sort of set up. XA is pretty cool. It basically, you're expanding it, and then it sort of shrinks back down to its original shape. And then I'm using all of the PEX. They're not plastic, but PEX fittings. So there should be no metal in the ground to avoid rot, to avoid oxidation, rust, deterioration. These, I'm a little concerned. I've got a lot of people say it's totally fine. I've got some reservation about it just because they're plastic corners. It's really no different than PVC piping or anything like that, but maybe it's a little thinner walled, a little more complex, I guess, as far as the fitting piece goes, but I'll let you guys know how it goes. So I'm expanding this, so this is gonna go sort of underneath here, underneath one of the spigots, and I'm adding this stub piece so that down the road, if we ever trench into it, I can snip this off and connect to it. So just using a coupling piece. So it's kind of trying to future-proof it. We're thinking of maybe expanding it down the road, but for this season, we don't have enough time to do all of the trenching. So we're trying to make sure that we can maybe use it going forward.
It is 40 degrees right now and it feels like below freezing. We are still working on the power project. Well, when I say we, I mean mostly John, because he works until 4 and I leave for work at 4, so most of this has been getting done after I leave. for work every night. Our neighbor Bobby has been helping out a lot. So I don't even really know where we're at with this right now. So would you like
Sure.
to tell us what you've done and what we're starting today?
Yeah, so far we've trenched power all the way to the well shed, to the power pole. We've dropped the primary line. We've put some water piping in certain areas so that we could already backfill. But today we are going to keep dropping water line into the trench so that we can just close it all up and then start working on putting gravel down, building out a whole pad, because the RV is eventually gonna sit over here. So behind me, the main panel, you can kind of see it. Power line is basically gonna run from the transformer to the well shed. All that is done, so we're just waiting on the power company to come out and finish that. That's wrapped up, that's closed. We've got open trench because we still actually have to trench to the well shed. Sorry, the well pipe, I guess. That's a project for, I guess, next week. I don't know, at some point before it freezes.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about this before on the channel, but that building behind us we call the
blockhouse.
The blockhouse, yeah. That housed the well. There was a video last year of John doing like a little bit of cleaning because we had an appointment with the local well company to come out and tell us what we needed to do, but they never showed up, so nothing ever happened with that. But this entire structure needs to come down.
Yeah. So this whole block structure needs to come down. The well pipe and the casing sits right inside of it. There's a concrete pad and everything. I actually have a temporary like shallow well pump drop down there just so that we can test the water flow. So far it's okay. We're only getting like 2 gallons a minute recovery, but it's 150 feet deep and the pump's sitting like 30 feet underwater. So I think it'll be better than that.
Do you want to tell them what's going on with the structure and what we're going to do now with the well?
Yeah, so this whole structure has to come out. We may or may not leave the concrete pad, but we are going to be installing a pitless adapter 3 or 4 feet underground. And then we're going to trench out and up. And that is basically where our new pressure tank is going to sit and all the electronics. That's
inside this building that you built, which is now the pump house.
Yep, so it's a heated shed, so that way, you know, stuff doesn't freeze. We've got power to it soon, and that's the plan going forward. So
yeah, so I guess we'll get started dropping some
PEX pipe.
pipe.
We're using PEX pipe underground. It's actually pretty controversial, to be honest. So
is it?
Yeah, there's PEX A, PEX B. We've got PEX A, and that way there's no metal fittings underground. That's my thought. And it is freeze and frost resistant because it can expand. And you can run, you know, 100-foot lengths or 300-foot lengths without a single splice, so there's less risk of a leak throughout the whole system. That was our thought. You know, we're starting from scratch out here, so we figured we'll just go with what we're going to use eventually, probably for the house too, and see how it goes.
All right.
So I think right now we'll just lay some pipe, cover it back up, and go from there.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
All right, it's official. We have power turned on at Trouble Valley.
The power crew is just leaving right now. They've just finished the job. Power is turned on.
Now we can get to work. So, we mentioned it before, but we opted to trench power from the one power pole that we have on the property. So they extended the primary line about 180 feet and dropped a pad mount transformer, which is this guy right here. Primary line comes in here, then there's a short run of secondary line that comes straight into the meter. And it's going. So it's actually on, which is pretty exciting. So now we are gonna move the RV up here, hook into the plug that we installed, which is right over there. You can kind of see it. We will have power and water hooked up into the RV. Water is the next project. We still have to trench to the actual well shed, install a pitless adapter, pipe everything in, do the pressure tank. All of that is sort of next up on the agenda. But for now, we will bring the RV up here, plug it in, and turn on some heaters because it's single digits overnight and we're burning a ton of propane and a ton of gas.
Well guys, if you made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. In the next few videos, we'll be racing the clock to get some more trenching dug and the well up and running before winter really sets in. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. See you on the next one.